Hello students, welcome. In the previous video we were discussing about the applications, the communication interfaces of the embedded systems. So in this video we will be discussing about the concept called embedded firmware and also some other components which are required by the embedded systems. So the first thing, that is embedded firmware. The embedded firmware is a flash memory chip that stores specialized software running in a chip in an embedded device to control its functions. So there are various methods available for developing this embedded firmware. The first method is writing a program in a high-level language like embedded C or C++, so using an environment, that is Integrated Development Environment, IDE. The second method is writing a program in an assembly language using the instructions supported by the processor or a controller. So to convert into a machine readable code, that is binary code, the converting from the high level language or the assembly language to the machine readable binary code is done by the hex file creation. So for a beginner who is starting with the embedded software field, so it is highly recommended to use a high level language because of its more advantages. So that is, writing the codes in a high level language is very easy, and the code written is also highly portable, and it is the high level language are not developer dependent, and it is very easy to debug as well. And hence compared to that assembly language, high level language is easier. Whereas because assembly language is tedious and time consuming, and we need to know about all the instruction sets as well, and the program will be highly dependent on the developer, and it is very difficult for the second person to understand the code when it is written in the assembly language. And coming to the control algorithm, there are two types which exist in this embedded software development. The first type is that the algorithm, it is based on the infinite loop, that is super loop. So where the control flow runs from top to bottom and jumps back to the top. So it's a conventional procedure. So whereas the second method, it is splitting the functions into different tasks and running tasks using a scheduler. So there are two types of control algorithms. So next, moving on to the other system components, so which are necessary for proper functioning of the embedded systems. Some of the examples are the watchdog timer, reset IC, brownout protection, etc. So let us see one by one the components. The first component is a reset circuit. A power on reset circuit ensures the system power supply stabilizes at the correct levels, and also the clocks of the processors to settle accurately. So the reset signal brings the internal registers and the different hardware systems for the controller or the processor, and it always starts at the software execution from the reset vector. Usually it is from the address 0x000. The reset signal can be either active high or active low. So the external passive reset circuit means it is the reset signal to the processor can be applied at power on through an external passive reset circuit comprising of the capacitor and the resistor. So some microprocessor or the controller contain the built-in internal reset circuitry, and they do not require any external reset. Some require some external reset circuitry. So the figure illustrates the resistor capacitor based passive reset circuit for active, high and low configuration. So if you want to adjust the value, if you want to reset the pulse width, so we can adjust the value of the resistor R and the capacitance value C. The next component is a brownout protection circuit. So this brownout protection, this prevents from the unexpected behavior of the supply voltage to the controller when it falls below the specified voltage. So it is essential for all battery powered devices, because if it is not, the circuit is not present, it leads to the data corruption. So the brownout protection circuit holds the processor or the controller in the reset state when the operating voltage falls below the threshold until it rises above the threshold voltage. So certain processors or the controllers support built-in brownout protection circuit which monitors the supply voltage internally. So if the processor or the controller does not integrate a built-in brownout protection circuit, the same can be implemented using the external passive circuits or the supervisor ICs. So the diagram shows a brownout protection circuit with the active low output. So here we can see that in the circuit, Zener diode DZ and the transistor Q forms the heart of the circuit. The transistor conducts always when the supply voltage VCC is greater than that of the sum of VBE and VZ. So if the transistor stops conducting only when the supply voltage falls below the sum of VBE and VZ. The values of R1, R2, R3 can be selected based on the characteristics of a transistor. And the microprocessor supervisor, that is external IC like DS1232 from Maxima, also provides a brownout protection. The next component is an oscillator unit. So the instruction execution of the microprocessor or the controller occurs in sync with the clock signal. That is, a microprocessor or a controller is a digital device made up of digital combinational sequential circuits. The instruction execution of a microprocessor or the controller occurs always in the sync with the clock signal. So the oscillator unit of the embedded system is responsible for the generating the precise clock for the processor. The certain processor or controllers integrate a built-in oscillator unit and simply require an external ceramic resonator or a quartz crystal for producing the necessary clock signals. The quartz crystals and ceramic resonators are equivalent in operation, however they possess physical difference. The speed of operation of a processor is primarily dependent on the clock frequency. Certain devices may not contain a built-in oscillator unit and require the clock pulses to be generated and supplied externally. Quartz crystal oscillators are available in the form of chips and they can be used for generating the clock pulses in such cases. So the total power consumption is directly proportional to the clock frequency. The accuracy of program execution depends on the accuracy of the clock signal. It is normally expressed in parts per million. The figure illustrates the usage of quartz crystal or the ceramic resonator and external oscillator chip for the clock generation. The next component is a real-time clock. So the real-time clock is a system component responsible for tracking all the time-related things in the system. That is, it tracks it holds the information like current time, date, month, year, day of the week, etc., and supplies a timing reference to the system. RTC is intended to function even in the absence of the power as well. And different RTC are available in the form of IC from different semiconductor manufacturers like Maxim, Delas, ST, Microelectronics, etc. The RTC chip contains a microchip for holding the time and date related information and battery backup for functioning in the absence of power. For OS based embedded devices, a timing reference is essential because to synchronize the operations of the OS kernel. The last component is a watchdog timer. A watchdog timer, or simply a watchdog, is a hardware timer for monitoring the firmware execution and resetting the system processor or microcontroller when the program execution hangs up. In other words, a watchdog timer is an electronic timer that is used to detect and recover from computer malfunctions. So depending on the internal implementation, the watchdog timer increments or decrements a free running counter with each clock pulse and generates a reset signal to reset the processor if the count reaches 0 for a down counting watchdog or the highest count value for an up counting watchdog. So when it is in the enable state, the software can write a 0 to it before starting the execution, and when the software execution doesn't complete within the time, that is when doesn't complete due to some issues that is malfunctioning within the time required, that is a maximum count. So it will generate a reset pulse and this will reset the processor. Other case, if the software execution completes before the expiration of the watchdog timer, and we can reset the count by writing 0 to the watchdog timer. So most of the processors implement watchdog as a built-in component, and some will not be having an inbuilt, whereas contain a built-in watchdog timer. It can be implemented using an external watchdog timer IC circuit. The microprocessor supervisor ICDS1232 integrates a hardware watchdog timer in it. So in the modern running embedded OS, so instead of watchdog can be implemented in such a way that when a watchdog timeout occurs, instead of resetting the processor, an interrupt is generated. So the interrupt handler for this handle the situation in a prescribed fashion. The figure illustrates the implementation of external watchdog timer based microprocessor supervisor circuit for the small scale embedded system. The last topic is, after studying all about the interfaces, components, and whatever the functions of these components, the last thing is the backbone of the embedded system, that is printed circuit board. So after finalizing the components and the interconnection among them, a schematic design is created using some software, and according to that schematic, the PCB will be fabricated. The PCB acts as a platform for mounting all these necessary components as per the design requirement. So also it acts as a great platform for the testing the embedded software. And also, apart from the subsystems mentioned already, some of the passive electronic components like resistor, capacitor, diodes are also found in the board. So this is all about the introduction to the embedded systems, its classification, applications, and also some of the core components of embedded system and the communication interfaces and other system components. These are the references, the books which I referred to deliver this videos, and thank you.